TV. With the news details, my name is Keith Mwemba. The Patriot Front PF says former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu's remarks on hypocrisy after the burial of the late 4th Republican President Rupia Bozani Banda was on point. PF Information and Publicity Chairperson Rafael Nakachinda says there has been a growing trend of hypocrisy in the country, where people, especially politicians, are only appreciated when they die. Mr. Nakachinda says it is for this reason people should not be afraid to confront each other with the truth. He says these, unlike a situation where former leaders were vilified and called thieves, are being inclusive immediately after leaving office. Mr. Nakachinda says the situation is the same with former head of state Mr. Lungu, who is today being insulted day and night without looking at the positive things he did. The former Minister of Water Development and Sanitation says it is hypocritical for President Hakainde Hichilema to state that the reason opposition parties gathered to mourn RB was because of a conducive environment that had been created.
I'm compelled to make a comment in relation to the fundamental truth that the former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu said yesterday, which has attracted some kind of debate. I think the advice and the sentiment of the former head of state yesterday was on point. As a people, we should never be afraid to confront each other with truth. The level of hypocrisy across the board, I think, is pathetic. Historically, as a people, we have always only celebrated people when they die. You have, for example, President Kaunda, who at the time that he left office, he was vilified, called a thief, his family, children called thieves, until in recent times, that's when we began to have positive sentiments coming in appreciation of his service to the country. But look at the outpouring, tributes and positive statements that were made at the time that he died. The second Republican President, Dr. Frederick Chiluba, when he left office, he was called a thief, vilified, persecuted, even at the point of him being acquitted. To his death, he was still being called a thief. But at the time that he was being buried, everybody was up showering praises, how that he was a father of democracy and the one that laid the foundation for economic growth that we've experienced as a country. Mwanawasa, it was the same. Now we're talking about President Rupia Banda. But look at President Michael Sata, it was the same. We condemn one another, condemn leaders, and only to come and celebrate them in their death. That is a high level of hypocrisy. Today we have a former head of state in Edgar Chagwa Lungu. As we speak now, President Lungu is being vilified, is being, persecuted, his family, his children, everybody is calling him a thief, somebody who never did anything to this country, even when we know that the infrastructure development that we are celebrated as a country to have achieved and attained was achieved under his watch. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema today is trotting the whole corners of this country, commissioning with his ministers projects that were left by the Patriotic Front government. That is never appreciated. They never even have the courtesy of referring to those achievements. They pretend as if they are the ones who have achieved. Now, what makes even the fundamental truth of hypocrisy real is to have a head of state, for example, at showground during the funeral of the official funeral of President Rupia Banda, suggest that the reason why opposition leaders and others are participating in the funerals because they have created a conducive environment for that kind of thing to happen, which is very unfortunate. That statement is far from the truth. The truth is that now we have in opposition leaders who are civil and are able to distinguish between national events